we'll leave all the other questions to the end of the call. So we're just curious. I like to be curious of everybody's time here. Everybody's here, and boom, all the questions are at the end. So, Devin, thank you so much for joining the call. Devin's helped a lot of people with books. A lot of people make a lot of money. So we're gonna plug Devin's Instagram. You guys want to check out more about the books after the call. He gives a lot of good game. I mean, Devin runs a whole operation. I've been to it personally. We actually live 20 minutes from each other, which is crazy
Yeah.
because my roommate met him in Miami. And it's like we lived 20 minutes away, and he was going to the same gym as me, which is like, I don't know what the odds of that are. And then we end up meeting in Miami. And it's funny because if you guys can't tell, me and Devin kind of look alike. And
Everyone calls us twins.
yeah. I've done books for years. Devon's does books for years and still does them. So it's just like such a weird world we live in. And I'm really happy my brother's here to talk
Yeah,
about
man.
books. You guys should check him out for sure. I highly recommend. Like everyone loves learning books from Devin, and like everyone respects him in the space for his books and what he does. And he's successful, and yeah, I'm happy for you guys to learn and hear what he has to say. So, Devin, thank you, and I'll let you take it away.
Yeah, man. Thanks for having me. Really appreciate the opportunity to be able to speak with you guys and just hope I can provide some value. If I can make one more person on this call successful, this conversation would be a win for me. But yeah, I mean, I started doing Amazon back in 2021, back in COVID, just like everybody else, trying to find an extra way to make some money. I was lifeguarding, and I just immediately kind of, second I sat down at the booth, was just like, how could I make some more money? I just felt myself wasting time and just immediately started buying things, listing stuff on eBay from around my parents' house, and just started making sales and started to try to strategize. How could I turn this into a business? Be mindful. This was about 5 years ago now, crazy enough. Amazon had been around, but it hadn't really taken over the youth and like Gen Z group of people and become really like more so labeled as cool to do. So I finally got that exposure after doing some research and immediately got hit with that first question, what's the easiest way to get started? You could do online arbitrage at the surface level of doing research to get started. You get hit with all the private label course sellers, and it just seems so hard and challenging and just seems like you'd be so set up to fail with having to work with a supplier and launch something and run ads. And it's just, whoa, 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 slow down. It's a lot. So I started looking into what's the best way to get started, and everyone was pointing the direction of books. And I'm really glad that I got started doing with books, because once you start with books, it will kind of always be the surface level of your business, because books are very high ROI and very low cost. You can get them for about $1, $2, and you're talking $8 profit. I think my business's average book sale price is $17. So that puts our net profit per book at right around $6 per every unit. But to make that $6, right, I don't have to spend $15, $20 on a piece of inventory. I can spend $1. So it's a lot less cash intensive, which makes me use my revolving cash for products and stuff, but I can funnel extra book profits into my products. So I'm not feeling as stressed to have to pay down my credit card and have to sell through my inventory and liquidate and take losses. I can kind of slow down on trying to have to liquidate my inventory at times, or I can buy more inventory at certain times because I have that extra cash flow from books. And I think it's a great way to kind of, I don't think a lot of people look at Amazon like this, but your Amazon business should be kind of looked at as like a portfolio. And books kind of help you hedge your portfolio by being able to sell products for a little bit of a loss because you make up for it with the book profits. You can buy inventory and take more risks at time with the book profits. But it's a great place to start, get profitable with books, and then move on to online arbitrage and do that for a couple months and get the hang of selling inventory and get the hang of keep it charts and seller ramp. And then once you're ready to ramp it up, start doing outreach to wholesale, get accounts open where you're buying more volume. And at the whole time, you're selling books for low cost, and the same strategy applies. Very low cost on inventory, very low cash intensive, very high ROI. And the best part about it, it's very consistent. you know, online arbitrage, one day your account might show $1,000 in sales and the next day it might show 100. Books, you're kind of selling the same amount of books every single day. If you're paying attention to sales rank and you have a strategy with what you're sending in, I think it's absolutely great. And I guess that's a little bit about me. And I want to be open to, questions if anyone has tried books, if anyone has any questions about my strategy. Like to turn it over to you guys and we can kind of try to have a open conversation about it.
If I may, Devin, I think like what would be cool is like you take us through the process from like finding a book to selling the book all the way from A to Z. And then also like what your numbers look like if you don't mind sharing, and like how long it took you to get to those numbers, and like how successful like you think it is, like realistic for people, like how they should get started and everything like that. I think that would be like good game to give the people like, hey, I like what Devin's saying. I want this business model. How do I do this? I think that would be
Yeah.
really cool.
Yeah. So you just ran me through like four things to run you through. What's the first one?
Let's talk about like you, how the business started you to where you're at now.
I started just going into Goodwills and buying books from there and flipping them. Kind of the strategy there. Every sort of business model you can try to refine. Once you figure out it works, it's like, okay, now how can I refine it? I guess from very breaking everything down, the first bottleneck with Goodwills is the amount of access to inventory. You only have access to the books that they brought out that day, and you only have access to the books with what's left over after someone else has gone sorting. Because I'm sure if you go on Google Maps right now, you're probably within 20 minutes away from a Goodwill. I promise you, there's other book sellers in your area, so you're going to be cleaning up after other people and left to the scraps unless you can build that relationship and get someone in Goodwill to send you a text when they bring books out. If you can establish one of those relationships, you'll be getting $100 books every single day, 40, 60, $80 books, paying $1, $2 for them. Then you kind of scale up to library sales. You can get a lot more volume from library sales all at once, but at the same time, there's a ton of competition there. You're going to run into people scanning and bumping into you, and it's not clean. People smell. It's not the best environment either. And you're like, I guess that's the most challenging part, is just there is a lot of competition with the books as well when it's in person. But then if you are looking to still refine that even more, you can buy Gaylords in bulk. You can also even do, community pickups and reach out to schools and figure out when schools are liquidating their books and cleaning out their catalogs. You can reach out and try to partner with a school and just say, hey, we'll pick up all your books. And, yeah, you can do that too. And there's a lot of different ways to get books. And I wouldn't say it's really one of those things you need to just pick one and double down on. I would say their books are so abundant in every single city. There's a lot of availability. So I would say just pick one of them that you think is a good one to start at. Goodwills, there will absolutely be books there. Library sales, there will absolutely be books at, and just go from there. Does anyone have any questions about kind of what I ran through right there?
All right.
How do you source? What do you have? I went sourcing with Celem, but it's taking me so much time. So I need something better. I heard of what is it? Something AI. Uh, I wrote it down somewhere, but I went on and it was $65 a month.
Mm.
So let me try to find it. And
Well,
I found that a little expensive.
we know what did you go ahead, Devin.
Yeah, no, thank you for your question. The tool that we use for sourcing is called Scoutly. It's
Yeah.
$9 a month, and it's definitely the best tool. I've been using it for
Okay.
since I've started. It's been great. SCOUTLY,
Like that.
and it's kind of like it's a green app store logo with like a barcode kind of badge.
Okay.
Download that. I think it gives you like 1,000 free scans
Hmm.
and then it's $9 a month after that. So one of the best
Okay.
tools for getting started and low cost. The
Thank you
other
so
tool
very
that,
much.
yeah, absolutely. The only other software too I'd recommend while I have an opportunity to is GoToLister. It's the software that we use to list all of our books. And you got to think about it like this: when you're sending out an FBA shipment, right, of like 50 units, it's very easy. You just list the SKU and then you add on 50 units and create the batch and send it. When you're listing that many different individual items, it can really take up a lot of time to list each listing. This tool, we use a UPC barcode scanner. We zap it like when you're at Target and someone's ringing you up. We use the same type of thing. We scan it, and it scans the barcode, and it has data within the software hooked up to Amazon, and it will smart price your inventory for you, price it, list it, everything. And then there's a couple different phases to it, but then the next phase is to do the box content where you'll scan the books again and it'll print their labels out. You label them, you put them in their boxes, and you ship them out, and it saves you so much time. So it's called GoToLister. And you guys could use code Devin for that, and that will get you guys a 14-day free trial.
Is it
Actually, I think it might even be a 30-day free trial.
is it go and then number two and then
Yeah,
listerdevin.com?
yeah.
Okay. Code Devin. DEVON. Boom. I'm gonna double check that website.
I have a
Yeah,
question.
that's it.
Hit me. Yeah, what's up?
Yeah. Okay. So I noticed that a lot of times they have used books and it costs more than new books listed. Why is that?
Just the quality. People are willing to pay more for a new book than a used book.
No,
And
it's
one,
the opposite way around.
oh, the opposite
They're
way around. The
charging
used
more
is
for
more.
used. Yeah.
We're probably not selling at that price then.
Yeah, it might. Oh, another thing too as well is Amazon's category, the buy box, has been changing lately. It's been very challenging for sellers that are trying to sell as new because the buy box is actually switching over to used now because there are so many more used books and used book sellers that the buy box is now presenting the used offers more.
Hmm.
So, and if you're doing used only, you almost have to try to set up your own FBM operation, which can get really challenging. It's taken me a very long time to develop my systems, and a lot of trial and error. I think we've had to hire, and in the early days of getting started with my in-person system, and
Yeah.
we've hired and lost so many employees with just not having our systems curated properly for our success and for the employees' success. That setting up an FBM setup from scratch takes a long time to trial and error. And I've taken the time to build it all out and essentially, help people that I've spoken with build out their systems and save time on not knowing how to properly set up a FBM system with that many different items and stay organized and fulfill them on a timely manner and not run into issues and late shipments and A to Z claims and all those kinds of things that you'll run into if you're not organized.
Yeah.
But to essentially answer your question, it's probably just because the buy box is gravitating over towards used, and because of that, the price is inflating.
Okay. Yeah, I've noticed it too because I've started selling books. I've
Nice.
had luck with a couple of different sets, like 3 book sets. I
Mhm.
find are a lot easier to find at a good price than individual books.
Mhm.
So, yeah,
Great.
I sold out of like 10, 20 sets within 2 days. But now this last batch that I bought is selling a lot slower, I
Mhm.
find, because I won't go down to the price of the buy box. It's too low.
Mhm.
Hmm.
So,
Totally.
That's great.
And Devin, I'm thinking like how long did it take you like to go from where you started, where you're at now, what your system looks like now versus where you started? and like how much money you were kind of making in the beginning versus like now, if you feel like, if you don't want to share, obviously you don't want to talk about that,
Yeah,
but I know that on Instagram you're showing your numbers and stuff like that. So I
yeah,
feel like,
no, I don't care. Um, let's see. I think just like everybody's Amazon journey, it's been anything but a straight line, and I've gone in a lot of different directions with it. I started out with books, and then was trying to get into the hype of products, and you know, products are great, but there's just a lot of issues with products. At the end of the day, the whole point of why we're even here today is to make money. And when you're getting into online arbitrage and stuff, even if you're in the wrong category, if you're doing clothing, like you're gonna learn the hard way that clothing gets a ton of returns. And on just one product buy, you're gonna maybe even just be break even. Yeah, you're gonna get the orange bars, but the orange bars aren't profitability. The orange bars are ego, but actually what you take home at the end of the month is actually the point of why we're all here. So it's been a really long journey for me to try different types of business models and figure out like what's really going to make me pay my bills and help me get to my financial goals. And honestly, every single time it leads me back to books because it's so consistent. I understand it really well. Um, and I think the books, I wouldn't say there's anything I could have done to have expedited it. I had to go down that path of trial and error and figuring out things and taking losses to get to where we're at now, where the books are really consistent and doing really well. But where I started out just sending books off to FBA while I was home for break on winter break when I was in college, to go back to college to receive those payouts and to basically pay through college. And then once I got out of college, I was doing wholesale, which I still do wholesale. I just still do wholesale. I still do brand direct, still do some online arbitrage. But we were making probably about $4,000 profit from the books when I first really went full time with Amazon. And that was more seen as, okay, that's $4,000 more worth of funds I can use to buy inventory. But books take a lot of time. So I'm also like, this is taking my time from building relationships, opening accounts, to the point where I was just realized if we just double down on books, we're making way more money on our time by sourcing books, just listing them, and we can delegate it out easier too. We can hire someone, and per every employee, we can get kind of an estimated amount of profit per every employee with the structure that we have. To the point now, I think we launched a new account about 7 months ago. And as you guys know, launching a new account from scratch and getting ungated takes a lot of time. But after we got kind of through the ungating phase of the first 90 days to where we can kind of get the whole book category ungated, we're now steadily doing $30,000 to $35,000 a month worth of revenue from just the books. And that's equating out to about, after all expenses of staff, warehouse costs, all that, we're profiting about $11,000 to $12,000 net a month. And that is still kind of seen as the same as hedging the overall Amazon business's portfolio. That's $12,000 more a month that we can invest into brand direct products when we're launching a brand on Amazon. If we want to buy some online inventory, online arbitrage, if I need to have a credit card I need to pay down because something didn't sell as quickly as I would have liked to, we have that book profit that's essentially just free profit to kind of hedge and not put as much pressure to sell through our inventory.
I really like that, Devin. Like something that you said, and like I love, this is like my favorite thing about your model. Like this is what I like, is like you talk about how the orange bars, which me and Devin know this, but if you guys like go on Twitter or social media about people that sell on Amazon, it's like they have these orange bars, and we all know the orange bars, it's your sales, and people will show like 50, 100, whatever a month. And Devin, like he's talking about, yeah, he had 35K in sales, but like his 35K in sales is like pure profit. Like I don't think Devin pays really anything for his books now. So it's like to the naked eye, it's like, oh, Devin did 35K on books, like whatever. It's like, no, he made 10K profit. If someone did 100,000 in sales and they have like 15% margin because they're willing to take less margin, they might have lost money on things. Devin, that person making 100,000 in sales and Devin making 35,000 in sales, they're probably making around the same thing, if not Devin making a little more, because it's pure profit. So one thing that I like about Devin's model is that he has an account when it comes to books, and then he has an account when it comes to his brands and it comes to his online arbitrage and wholesaling. So like exactly how Devin's saying, it's like he knows every month he's gonna make money from books. It's just like a grind. His books are a grind. The more time he puts in, the more money he's gonna get out of it. And then he takes that money and he puts it into like his stocks, and then he puts it into his online arbitrage and his wholesaling and his brand direct. And it's like he's doing sales on both. So it's like cool because he's like, okay, here's my safety net of the books. Here's my I want to make extra money and grow business outwards and do it with this other account. So like I do like that about your model, Devin.
Thank you, man. Thank you. I mean, business is risky enough as is. You know, you got to find a strategy to always protect yourself and kind of figure out what your at the end of the day, it's your financial goals. You know, what are your financial goals? Where do you want to be in 10 years? And how are you going to get there? You know, how much is your living expenses? How much you need to cover that? What's your goals with buying inventory? How many wholesale accounts do you want to have in a couple of years? How much is all that going to cost? And I think books is really just a lucky method. It's a lot of luck, and it's a real privilege that you can get something for basically free and sell it and make $100 on a $120 book that sells. It's a real privilege, you know. I would do that every day than have to spend my actual hard-earned money or even credit on inventory, because now you're wrapped up. Now you're taking on risk. Both are like the lowest risk model, the most consistent, and sets you up for long-term success. If you just ran books up and contributed all your money into the S&P 500 or QQQ, if you look back 6 years ago and you netted, just say an easy amount, say you netted 80K profit a year from books, let's break it down here. That's about $7,000 a month profit in books, which is only about selling about 700 books a month. To be able to do that, all you really have to do is have 2,000 books active at Amazon at all time with a sales rank of under 1 million. If you can just do that, keep 2,000 books at Amazon and basically invest a portion of your net profits into the S&P 500, QQQ, traditional ETFs. If you look back and do the math on doing that over the last 6 years, you would basically be able to do really whatever you want with your life. You could buy a house, you could move, that strategy could open your doors to so many opportunities of not necessarily financial freedom, but a really, really good lifestyle, better than most Americans, I would argue.
100%. 100%. No, it's definitely true. And like with mine, I just loved doing books back in the day because like it'd be like it's so fun when you sell a book and you get $100 profit off of one book and you got that book for $1. So it's like think about the ROI, like maybe like with my wholesale. We talked about wholesale last week, Devin, and it's like wholesale, like your margin might be 25% ROI. And with wholesale, that's great because like the difference between OA and wholesale is like wholesale, you can keep getting it from the distributor over and over. So it's great. But you might, if you're lucky, get 25% ROI. Sometimes it's 20%. So you spend 100, you get back $20 profit. With books, you spend $100 and you might be getting, let's say worst case scenario, you're buying each book for $5. You're probably getting 1 to 2,000% ROI on your money versus 20% ROI on a $100 book or $100 of inventory versus $100 of books is probably 1,000 to 2,000 ROI, if not even more. Because like if I'm buying a book for $1 and I sell it for $100, that's what 10,000 ROI, something like that. So
yeah.
like, so that's just like that's the difference between the two models. It's very it really is just like how many books can you get your hands on. And Devin, like, I mean, this is more like stuff that he posts on his Instagram and everything like that, but he talks about like next level things, how his model looks, like what his warehouse looks like, all these things. So yeah, what else are you thinking, Devin? So yeah, so you talked, so first year, Devin, when you did this business first year, I know you kind of like went all at it, right? You went all for it, like book. You were like Amazon books. Let's go. Let's run it up.
I did it kind of responsibly. I was in college, didn't have a ton
Okay.
of time. I had my studies. I was already a sophomore by this point. I was a little bit in too deep to consider dropping out. Didn't want to waste the money on student loans like that. I just was going to see it through. The goal was to get out of school and get a traditional job, which I did do. I worked in sales for about 2 years out of college while running the Amazon up, and the Amazon, the mix of the books and the products. I mean, I surpassed my income level with my W-2 job before I'd even graduated college.
Let's go.
I came out of college making a 50K a year base salary with a potential to make commission. And my Amazon business was already surpassing that every single month. And I was just like, with the amount of, if I had 8 hours back every day to put into this, what could this really look like? I could actually live the dream that we're all here chasing of taking control of our lives, taking control of our financial status, and not leave that in the hands of somebody else. Not leave that in the hands of someone to promote us. Leave that in the hands of someone to dictate, where we end up in life. We want to take control of that. That's why we're all here. So eventually I went full time with Amazon, and that's when I really put the gas on, and I was in love with Amazon all the way through, just like everybody.
So your first year full time, your first, obviously you learned a couple things, but you weren't like taking it serious. You were in school and stuff. Like your first year of business, what did you do first year of like actually taking the book model serious, so people can like have a realistic number on like, hey, I want to do the book model. How much can I expect, kind of thing?
You could the world is your oyster, honestly. I would say the one thing, the mindset to go into is just volume. Do more. Don't be scared. Just as long as you're using the very basic strategy of just send in books that are under 1 million sales rank, send as much as you can. You're not, as you start sending books that are like 5 mil, 6 mil, 7 mil rank books, and your strategy on that is like, well, it's an $80 book. My profit on this is going to be $60. You're going to find a ton of those, but you're finding them because someone else left them there for a reason. The one issue you're going to run into if you send too many books that sit there is Amazon's going to lower your capacity and how much you can send in, your cubic capacity. And then you're going to get halted, and you're going to have a ton of dead books that you're going to have to remove. And removal fees are like $4 a unit, either to dispose or to send back to you. You're going to dispose them because you don't want them anyway, but you're going to lose money, and you're going to be halted on how much you can send in. So the strategy that we've found is we haven't been halted at all, and we haven't ran out of space with what our sales velocity is and how much we're able to get out is within like the strategy of just under 1 million. If you just do that, just send as much as you can, and just try to get yourself over that threshold of 2,000 active units at all times. And how much you can expect from that. With that strategy and the people that I've taught, we've seen all of them accomplish like $90,000 within a year of revenue while having a full-time job.
Crazy.
So I'm not sure what everybody's status is in here with working with a job or not, but people with a full-time job that work for Fidelity, guys that I've graduated college with, that I've taught how to do this, that follow my strategy, have seen sales dashboards surpassing $90,000 within their first 9 to 12 months doing just books, which would equate out to, books is basically about 50%. So that's anywhere from 50 to 60 grand net profit on top of their 60 to 70K a year income. So putting them in that 100K a year bracket at 24 years old or so.
And I think that like that statement alone, what you just said, is like very attractive to, I think, like most people in here. I think that's why like people wanted you on last week. I remember Gigi asked me, she was like, where's Devin? And we're like, and I'm like, oh, well, do you want to have Devin or do you want to have this other person? Maybe I'll reach out to Devin. Gigi's smiling now. You see Gigi. And and I was like, yeah, like, like I definitely need Devin in here. It's just it's such an attractive model because like you said, it's like you're getting your full baseline of like how to get started, the full system from A to Z. And
Mhm.
then it's like, it's just the bet. I don't think there's a better ROI business on Amazon, personally.
I don't think so either. And we're all chasing the ROI.
From like your first sale too, especially from your first sale and like from cheapest to most expensive or like most ROI, there's nothing. I think books. That's why I started with
Yeah,
books.
I sold a $242 book yesterday. We were up at my friend's mountain house
Yeah,
for an event in Deep Creek, and it's just I just couldn't believe it. I'm like, it's every time I sell a high ticket book like that, and I see
took
what the
their
net
day.
profit is, and it's
Yeah,
like $220 net profit. It's just like this is a luxury, you got to be grateful for those wins and remember the type of person I was when I first came out of school. I'd make like $100 a day after taxes with my 9 to 5 job. And in one transaction, I just made $220 on one transaction while selling probably about 100 other books that same day. It's an absolute blessing,
Are
and
these rare books? Is that why they're so expensive?
huh?
no, it's just whatever the market value is at that time and kind of in relation to supply and demand. How many books there's a lot of booksellers out there, so it's all about supply and demand and how many copies were printed and how many have been donated because they kind of all
So
end up
true.
getting donated. That's how we all kind of get our hands on them. And if it's a valuable book, less are going to be donated, more readers are going to probably keep them because they're valuable. And with regard to supply and demand, if there's not a ton of people on the listing, you can kind of price it at whatever you want. Because our strategy for that is put yourself in your shoes. When you want to, I always use a shoe as an example because I've done it myself. If I want a pair of whatever Nikes or something that I need, and say I have a really popular shoe size, a 9.5 and a men's, and there's only everyone else is sold out in that size, and there's only one offer left, and the shoe is $150 more than actual retail price, but I want that shoe, I'm gonna buy it. And it's the same thing for book readers and book fanatics. If they
Mhm.
want the book bad enough, and you're the only offer on the listing, and the book originally retailed at $20 and you want to price it at 65, it just takes one person to want it bad enough. And you got to remember, Amazon has millions of people on their platform every single day. It just takes one person. As long as the sales rank is proven, it will sell.
Mhm.
So that's how you can that's our strategy for pricing is it's just all about supply and demand. It's a very, very basic business model.
Yeah.
And
Do
it's
you have
very,
to
very
get gated for just selling books in general, and you can send any book you want to Amazon to sell?
So, yeah, great question. So, the book category, I would say, is arguably one of the easiest categories to get ungated in, but there are still certain publishers that are harder to get ungated that will, for some reason, always need an invoice, like Pearson's, McGraw-Hill, Scholastic has actually officially been regated for everybody. Nobody can sell Scholastic anymore. But mostly the whole entire category is usually pretty much ungated after you've been selling in the category for about 90 days or so. And when people that I bring in to consult and teach how to get started from scratch from a brand new account, the tips that I give them is just go if you're gated in the book category, just go into any Goodwill with your Amazon app and just go down the line and just scan them and just spam request approval. Just get a ton ungated and then don't even worry about if you can't even find, say, 45 books that you're ungated on, that's okay. Even if it's like 12 books, just send that first FBA shipment out because as soon as they touch down at Amazon, if you have a brand new account, I feel like every time that one of my students has done that, they've been able to get ungated on like 50% of the category because
Mm.
I feel like it's essentially kind of proving to Amazon, okay, this seller has figured it out. They've got us the books without any discrepancies, no issues. They received it. Okay, this seller figured it out. Now let's ungate them on a higher percentage of the overall category. And then you continue to sell in the category, make your first sales. No customers have any issues. No customers claim any counterfeit or anything like that. Then after probably about 30 days of consistent sales, you'll get ungated on the majority of the category. And then after probably 90 days, you can sell probably the entire category, with the exception of some of those stricter publishers like Pearson's and McGraw-Hill that I had mentioned.
Absolutely. Devin, so like I think someone asked, well, I'll just say this. Like what I would say, what's your favorite type of book? Because I know mine, and like mine, I think you would agree with me. Like the best type of book is like textbooks, because like they're super profitable. A lot of them are very like valuable. So it's like there's been times where I was at a thrift store and it would be like I could tell that they were new, right? So a lot of times at colleges, um here's there's a bunch of little other tidbits and tricks as well. But like with one time when I was at a thrift store, a local thrift store, I saw that there was a bunch of textbooks and I knew I was gonna make money. And like there was one that was like the same, like three of the same one, and they were all $90 profit. And it was just like boom, 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 textbook, textbook, textbook. Like textbooks are like probably the best, my
The
favorite.
best. It's like when you see that at a Goodwill, it's like instant dopamine. It's like,
Yeah.
give me all of them. You guys got
Yeah.
any more in the back? If you guys can get backroom access too, it's just like any other type of sales. It's like asking the question, building the relationship. If you get a no, it might be a no for the first 3 times, and then on the 4th time they say yes. Just keep following up, keep asking. They see you the same similar face. Like all the Goodwills have a quota they got to make and in sales, and if you're willing to buy from them and consistently, they'll let you have backroom access, and then you can really walk out of there with some profit.
100%. 100%.
But textbooks, you gotta be tricky about textbooks. There's risk in everything, right? And in the book category, there are also counterfeit books as well. And the main books that get counterfeited are 1, textbooks, and then 2, really popular books like Tony Robbins or David Goggins had an issue too with counterfeits, because you can counterfeit a book just as easily as anything else. And with regard to textbooks specifically, I would say just watch out, because these textbook companies like Pearson's and McGraw-Hill will actually have attorneys now sample buying and inspecting your books, and just like sample buying from just random Amazon sellers. It's totally random. And we've heard of just some people getting sample bought, and no one's out here trying to actually cause harm to anybody, but there's really no way to tell they're a counterfeit. So always just understand the risk involved with textbooks. But at the end of the day, like, yes, we still sell them and there's great profit involved. Just make sure you're selling them in the quality in which they truly are.
Sick. And I'll say to that, like also you're not like, it's not like we're over here selling, like when it comes to like the lawyer stuff, because everyone deals with that. Like there's law firms out there. I've like, for example, this is like something that I like you guys shouldn't have to worry about, because I've had a company, there's a law firm named Voorhees, and they work with like Amazon, like all these different categories and stuff. I've gotten like 50 letters from Voorhees alone, and like I throw them right in the garbage. So what Devin's talking about with like Pearson and stuff, obviously you're selling like one book. Like no one's gonna come to you and be like, oh, you're selling this one textbook one time, I'm gonna sue you for your entire business. Like that's absolutely ridiculous. Like if you were to work with a supplier and get thousands of the same textbook, right? Thousands of the same textbook, and then sell them as new, and then they turn out to be counterfeit. That's a little different than finding a
Amazon has a rule where if you get multiple complaints on one listing, they'll look into you. But the reason why the book category is a little bit more relaxed is because it's all individual items. You guys see some of these guys that do eBay to Amazon and they don't have any issues. It's because they're only selling one item at a time. So that's a little thing that we've figured out. And also, GoToLister has a method where it has a counterfeit checker, where you can scan the book and you can just check on each one in your batch, and it'll flag you if it's a book that has possible high likelihood of counterfeit. And most of the time, it's not likely.
Yeah, absolutely. And then I guess we'll spend like we got like 13 minutes. We have 2 hands up. Guess we'll just spend the rest of the time answering questions. What do you think, Devin?
Yeah, happy to help.
One more cool thing. I'll go. You go first, and then I'll say mine as well. What was your best ever book find to everybody listening and like tell the story about it and what was the best one ever.
Yeah, it was a painful story because I actually didn't sell it myself. So
Oh
one of
shit.
the books that we got just through the various ways that we source, basically my students, when I bring them in, I give them a welcome bonus where I will ship $2,000 worth of profitable books to their store FBA for them. And one of the guys I sent him books wasn't even looking. I sent him a $5,000 book, and the sales rank was under 1 million. So this was pretty recently. I don't think it's sold yet, but after that, sent him $2,000 worth of books plus one book that was 5,000, and uh, I'm happy for him. But that was probably my best find, and I'm happy, to just someone else got a good deal for once. But yeah,
Bro,
there's
hit
some
the
real
lottery.
gems
He
out
didn't get a
there.
good deal. You gave him a
Huh?
lottery ticket.
Yeah, no,
Gave him the best
and
scratcher in the
that's the
dude.
book category, man. There's so much profit in it, and there's gems out there. It's just, what kind of business owner do you want to be? There's a lot of business owners out there that want to make their business as easy as possible and try to get other people to do their jobs for them. And then there's the people that get rewarded for putting in the actual hard work, and the book category is challenging. It's more manual labor than sourcing on Keepa and storefront stalking, but the payout is absolutely there.
Okay. Amazing. Beautiful. So let's answer the questions in the chat and then we'll go through the hands. Let's see what we got here. Do you recommend selling them more FBA or selling them to buyers yourself? FBA or FBM, Devin?
Starting out, I would say do FBA at first because it's a lot of work to do inventory management. You're going to need to get a software to track where the book is when it sells. If you have 2,000 books in like a storage unit, for example, or in your home library, it's a lot more to manage, or you can just ship out 2,000 books from one bedroom. Start out FBA. Once you really figure out your sweet spot and start strategizing your mind about, how to scale it, it might be smart to lease a warehouse and bring it in-house if you're really trying to scale. But I would say, yeah, just don't overcomplicate it at first. Just get some books out, start out FBA, and use GoToLister because it's absolutely the best tool for FBA. There's other softwares out there, but GoToLister is the only software that's tailored towards FBA.
Nice. Yeah, it's like why complicate it for yourself? Send it to Amazon, forget about it, and let yourself get sales. That's it. You don't gotta be like, oh, I gotta go and ship these 3 books out. Hopefully, I don't damage them when I get to the post office on time. It's like send the books in and you're done.
And when we do FBA too, we set a minimum price for $11.95 per every book. So like just in case the book right now is retailing at $9, the buy box will still jump up and grab us at $11.95, and that way we're not taking any losses on anything. And for a book that's $11.95, if you pay $1 for it, you're going to profit about $2.90, maybe $3 or a little more if it's a paperback.
Yep.
And yeah, you're paying that pick and pack fee, but it's worth it for the time you get back.
And if you do, make sure you use Flash Pricer. That's the best repricer out there. And James said, what type of books, Devin? Everything, right? I don't think there's no in particular type of books.
Yeah, we're not when we're sourcing, we're not looking by category. We're not doing the work of looking to see if every book is a first edition. If we catch that, good for us, but it's about volume, not slowing down and flipping through the pages and trying to find a first edition. We got to get the stuff out. Otherwise, we'll end up getting buried on books with the amount of volume we have coming in. It's pretty mindless. Say props to you if you're able to refine it further than me, but we don't focus too much on that. We're just trying to sell a lot of books.
Yep. And I think that also answers Moses' question. He said, what books would be the best? Children's books, any genre, cookbooks, horror books, fiction books, they're all good. It's just all about what's profitable. Like you scan it with Scoutly, it's profitable. Let me take that home to my house to be able to list on Amazon. And then Debbie asked, what kind of books sell for $100 plus, basically?
I'm not totally sure. I mean, I could try to look and see what What was this $200 book that just sold? I don't even know off the top of my head. I just look at the numbers. Let me try
It's
to look.
it's everything.
It's random.
Textbooks, cookbooks are big. Um, Not anime books aren't like $100 plus, but anime books are really good. Um, what else are good? Like sometimes, like obviously, the more rare it is, the more it's worth. I've sold really good books. Devin talks about this $5,000 book, which is like that's crazy, bro. Like, but my best couple finds. I found a signed J.K. Rowling's book, which is like freaking crazy. I got to get it authenticated though. And then I found a complete set of this rare captain's book log, like I think it was like a 40 set books. Sold that for like 2,300. I've had a couple books. J.R. Tolkien. I'm sure you guys know him. He wrote The Hobbit. And I found a rare book of his and I sold that for 500. I've sold a couple rare books of his 500, 400, 300 a couple times. So yeah, that's like there's been some really really cool finds. Great finds. And let's see. So Scoutly, it's on the App Store, mobile app, GG. Yeah, he's Medea said, "Can you give us an example of what type of books you are selling?"
Paperbacks and hardbacks.
Yeah. Hello, Devin. So these books are used. Are you selling them new and used? That's what Claudia asked.
Yeah, we do all used.
All used. Yeah. So like if you're buying them from a supplier, guys, you can sell them new. But if it's like you're finding it from a thrift store, obviously you don't have paperwork. You're selling that as used. And then what app will tell you if they're gated or ungated? James said.
The Amazon app. If you download the Amazon Seller app, you can scan them with the camera feature and you can request approval right there and figure out if you're gated or not. If it'll let you list it, you're ungated. If it's requesting documentation, invoicing, 10 units, 50 units, 100 units, you're gated. Yeah.
Books are probably the easiest category to get ungated in the entire market. Like, I don't think there's any category that's like you see a request approval and then there's every time you can almost get approval for that book unless you need to keep selling more books. And then James said you mentioned 2,000 active books. Is that single or each book? That's just books in total, James. So Devin probably has 2,000 individual SKUs to clarify on the wording on that.
Mm-hmm.
Christella asked for your Instagram, so I'll go ahead. I put it down below. Does Devin teach? Does he have lessons on book sales models and what does he recommend? Everything like that. Guys, go check out Devin's Instagram. I think that's the best. That's the best thing is like just follow him, see what he's posting on there.
Mm-hmm. We post a lot of free content and stuff. There's some videos and stuff in the link in my bio. You guys can message me with any questions.
Nice. Go to Lister. Is that what you use to print the label or to ship the books?
Everything.
Nice.
Listing, labeling, and creating the FBA shipments. Everything from listing it to sending it out.
And what is the estimated sales you go for when it comes to books?
Sales rank? Under $1 million, nothing over 5 million, unless it's like pretty profitable, like a $30, $40 book plus.
And what about like estimated sales for that book? Like what it's called for the books is e-score. What like e-score you go for? So like what an e-score is, guys, is basically out of 180 days, how many days does this book sell a day? How many days of the 180 days does that book sell? So if it says 180 plus, that means it sells every single day out of the 180 days. If it sells 10 days out of the 180 days, it only sells 10 times in 6 months.
I go for when my guys in the warehouse are sorting, I tell them like the sales rank strategy I give, but if it's over that, but there's an e-score of 2, just proof of like demand, someone has bought it, we'll keep it in our category. Or I mean in our catalog. If it's a 0 and it's not being bought at all, we aren't gonna put it on our shelves and take up our available space with that.
It also depends how much profit, right? Because one time I had a book that was an e-score of 2, and it was a $100 book, and I actually sold it like randomly. But I was also one of 3 people in the listing, So it's
Well,
like,
we do, I mean, we do so much volume that we still list books for like $7 because the profit on that might be after the 3.95 shipping, and then Amazon takes their $1.80 just for the book category, and then their referral fee. I mean, we're left with maybe a buck or two profit, but we're doing volume, so we're gonna try to sell. I would like to try to sell 30,000 books this year.
let's go. Is it a 10 unit to get ungated or less or more? James asked.
It depends on the publisher, but
Usually get
um,
auto approved, James.
you'll get auto approved, especially like I said, with the method of going to the store, requesting approval for a ton of different publishers, and then just getting that first shipment out. You'll eventually get ungated in the whole category. It's just you got to go through the same process as everybody else. And there's really no cheat codes to getting ungated. It's just you got to figure out what you're ungated in, do the work of that, and then do the work of selling that stuff. And then you'll open up those doors. I don't know if you guys, with the coaching you guys have received, if they explain gating the same way as I do, but it's kind of just like the more doors you get open, the easier harder doors get opened. I mean, I
Mhm.
don't know if that made sense, but the more doors you get open, those harder doors become easier to get open. So a 400 unit invoice, if you sell in that category for 6 months with no issues, I bet you that 400 unit invoice will drop down to a 10 unit request ungate or maybe at the most 100 unit ungate, but it will get easier if you don't get auto approved.
Mhm. Mhm. And then we have a couple more questions, but we'll go with the hands. Gigi, what's your question?
Hello, how? Yes, I have some books that are listed as new and they're not selling. So can I put them at use new used, the first one.
Well,
Use like new?
Yes.
what's the sales rank on it?
I don't know because I don't know, but they sell like 36 a month, 40 a month, 50 a month. I use Cellular app, so
Gotcha. I
well,
mean, those are good numbers. Are you signed up for Flash Free Pricer?
not yet because I'm not, I just started, so
Yeah, for sure. I would say once you work up to it, I would say sign up for that for sure because that will help you match the buy box, and I bet you'll sell. You may just not be getting worked into the buy box yet, but it'll sell. Just give it some time.
give them some time, keep them at new.
For sure. Yeah.
Okay.
Mhm.
And I had another question because I mean I'm scanning. I'm scanning. I just spend like 5, 6 hours in the shop doing just scan everything. And I found a couple of books that I'm gated for it. So how do you get if we sell use, how do we just skip the one we are gated for? Or because you were trying to say, I didn't understand how to get ungated if we're gated for 10.
Yeah, I would say
If
just
we
you could
sell a
skip it.
use, skip
Yeah.
it?
I
Okay.
Yeah, if
I
you're gated on it, I would say you could skip it. The only other option would be you could buy it if it's a good sales rank and profitable, and it might sell on eBay. You could list it on eBay and just hold on to it until you get ungated on it. Because if you're new, your account's just gated right now. It'll probably be able to sell it in 90 days of selling in the category.
Mhm.
So you could still, if you have the money to, if you have the funds to, and you're okay with your money being allocated in that inventory and not listed, but you're gonna
Mhm.
wait till you get ungated for it, you could do that as well.
Okay.
It's
Thank
about
you.
personal preference. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Um, So when we go to if when we go to what the name to Scoutly, are we going to get a demo, a video showing us how to use it or
Ton of stuff on YouTube. Yeah, ton of free information on Scoutly on YouTube.
okay,
If you have any questions about it too, you could DM me and I'll be happy to answer any questions that you have.
okay. Are you also on YouTube or not?
Yeah, yeah, I got some videos on YouTube.
for your YouTube
On
channel.
what name?
If you probably just look up my name, Devin Wilmoth. I'm not sure what my handle is. I post a lot on
I'll
YouTube,
look you up,
but
Deb.
okay.
I'll look you up and post it. Sandman, go ahead and ask your question.
Thank you.
Yes, I
Sure
wanted
thing.
to ask, when you talked about sourcing, you mentioned the libraries, the schools, the Goodwills, places like that to find the books. But I guess the other part of that question would be, what are the restrictions in selling on Amazon in terms of where you get the books from? You know, if you get a book from a school, will they accept it? You know, you got to get ungated in it. So that's kind of my question.
Yeah, so I would say they're like if they ever ask for documentation, if you're listing it as new, you know, no documentation will essentially hold up for that unless you purchased it as new from a authorized distributor. Same things apply. Um, it is kind of tricky to get ungated in the book category because you're selling one of just one item. So if you're gated on something, it's not really worth it to buy 10 units to get ungated so you could sell one book from a thrift store. It's kind of the strategy to just move on to the next and figure out what you can sell. Um, because I think an invoice really just, there really is no good way to get ungated for books because there really isn't you could go, like I said, you could go buy that book from a Target, 10 units of it. But are you going to go to all that trouble just to sell one book as used and profit $3 on it? Your best bet is to just figure out what you can sell, what you're ungated on as of now, and every time you're sourcing, just before you check out, scan through your books and put back anything that you're gated on, unless you're comfortable with taking the stuff home and sitting on it until you do get ungated on it. Does that answer your question a
Yeah.
little bit better?
So, in other words, let's say I bought a book from a school because I've got several schools near my house.
Mm-hmm.
How do I know, you know, that if I purchase that book from that school, that that's an approved seller to sell on Amazon? In other words,
Yeah.
how do
Great
you know
question.
who's approved if you buy the book to
Mm-hmm.
sell it on Amazon? Because they may say, hey, the book you got from the Goodwill, they're not authorized, or this particular school is not authorized as an authorized seller or dealer, retailer, what have you. That's the question I think I have. How do you jump
Great
that?
question. Yeah, so my answer to that is Amazon has a hidden list that none of us know about. So it's kind of just luck. You could give it a shot. They might auto accept it, because sometimes when you upload an invoice, it sometimes just goes through right away. Clearly, no one's looked at it. So it might work. But with regard to knowing if they're an authorized supplier, there's really no way to know unless it works because Amazon has a hidden list of all the suppliers that they consider authorized, and we will never know. I don't know why Amazon doesn't just make our life a little bit easier and let us know what's good to buy from and what's not instead of leaving us all always guessing. But I guess that's the fun part of Amazon, and they do leave you always guessing, and I think that's how they keep the marketplace from getting too competitive because we are all guessing. And if we all know what the sources are, well, we're going to go straight to those sources and completely saturate it. So
Well,
we
I
never
guess
really know, but
I'm
go
sorry.
ahead.
I'm sorry to cut you off. I guess it just puts me in a dilemma if I'm new that I got to spend the money to buy the book and I don't know if I can sell it. Like if I got to get ungated on 10 books or they say maybe it's 100 books and I go buy those books and then Amazon comes back and say, well, that's not authorized place where you bought that book from. Now I'm stuck
Yes.
with 100 books.
That
Yeah,
won't
it's kind of
happen.
an
It just
investment
puts you
and
in a
ROI on
dilemma.
your
I'm just
time.
trying to figure out how to get beyond this dilemma being new.
Yeah,
Uh,
just move on to the next book because I would go to the trouble of getting ungated for a specific brand that I'm going to continue to sell, that I could buy 100 units of from a Target, and I'm going to
Okay.
continue to try to sell on that for a couple months. If it's just one book, I wouldn't recommend you go to the trouble to do all that. I would just keep scanning down the shelf and find other books that you can sell.
Okay.
Way too much trouble for you to go through, and you're going to be able to sell stuff automatically right away in the category. And then it's just about continuing to find more books that you can sell and sending them out. And you'll eventually get the whole entire category ungated. It's just a matter of time of just putting the work in of scanning through the shelves and buying books that you are ungated on and taking them home, listing them, sending them out, and just selling in the category for 60 to 90 days, you'll be able to sell majority of the entire category.
I'll answer it like this, just to add on top of what Devin's saying. Like, so when it comes to like this fear, I know there's like this fear of gating, and that's what everyone's doing with an Amazon. Like, it's the last fear you have when it comes to books. Like, the thing with gating, you have to just request approval gating, and it'll, when I say auto approval, you just like, they make you where it's like you're trying to list something, they say you have to request approval, you press it, and then it says approval automatic, like automatic approval, done. Like that's it. And like the reason why, it's because, so I just looked it up just to give like answers to the numbers. There's 16 to 17,000 book publishing businesses in the globally, and then there's 70,000 independent publishers. So like a lot of times when Devin's talking about like this 60 to 90 day thing, you'll like, a lot of the times like all these publishers are a little bit different. You're gonna like, your Amazon's just trying to see, are you a good person that can sell books on Amazon? Are you reputable? So like they're trying to weave out the bad characters, like the people that are selling these fake David Goggin books, like Devin's talking about. That's why they have you gated at first on some things, but then once they realize you're good, they're gonna auto ungate you on like like probably 90% of all books. Like when I'm selling books, like I'm not running into issues on if I'm gated or not. It's not really a thing. It's like when you have these books and they're profitable, you always can take it, and like there's other things you can do. It's like I'm picking up that book if it's like gated, and like Devin said, eBay, there's a lot of other things as well that you can do with books. It's like, for a fact you bought it for $2, it sells for $70, it sells a couple times a month. Like maybe you know someone else who buys books and they can sell it on their Amazon account. There's a lot of other things you can do as well. I always pick up books. It's just like having like $2. Like what's $2 nowadays? I can't even buy a bag of chips for $2. I'd rather buy that book, even if I can't sell on Amazon. A year later, I might have 30 of these books, and it's like, nah, I meet a friend and they sell books. Hey, maybe you're ungated from all these books. You want to buy all these off me for 30% of what it sells for on Amazon, and that's free money for you? Sure, I'll buy it. Boom. My $20 just turned into 1,000 because I kept a pile of books that I'm just gated on, but they actually go for money. That's all it is. I really wouldn't worry about, I mean, me and Devin both did books. A lot of people do books. I wouldn't worry about gating. Books are the last category you got to worry about with gating. You're gonna find a lot of books. You just got to find the profitable ones.
Okay, last quick question. In terms of that, what if you don't have an invoice? If you know, for example, I've got a library, and sometimes they give away free books. And what if you find a hot book, and they're giving it away, and they've got multiples? And what do you do in that case? If someone ask you, where did you get it from? Where's the invoice for it? And you got it free.
That's not going to
So
happen.
if you're listing it as used, yeah, you are as close to protected as possible because it's used. Used is the best way to protect your account. And I have heard rumors that with Section 3s were going on really heavy last year, and people were getting Section 3s on used books, Goodwill invoices were actually going through. They were accepting them. They're not going to accept them for new, or probably for trying to get something ungated. But like, if you're selling it as used and you bought it from a used store, it's like you could fight that. And we have account health people that actually do help represent you in court if you're trying to win your account back, or take Amazon to court. Say they shut down your account and they're holding like $100,000 worth of profit in your payout. Like, you can take them to court over that with an Amazon attorney. And as long as you've gone to Goodwill within the last 6 months, I would say just, if you're really trying to get into books, one good way to protect yourself is, as long as you're selling everything used, go to Goodwill at least once every 6 months, buy some books, take a picture of that receipt, and just hold on to it just in case. Because when you buy books from Goodwill, it doesn't say the exact book. It just says one hardcover, one hardcover, one hardcover, one paperback, one paperback. And the receipts look like that, and they have the date. And then if you're buying it with your business credit card that it has the information that aligns with your Amazon account, you're as close to protected as possible.
And this court stuff that Devin's talking about, this is very extreme, very
Very
rare.
extreme stuff. I'm literally just trying to set you
This
guys up with
Devin,
success. But yeah,
Devin's gonna talk about the worst possible things that can ever possibly happen. But that's
but
very
that's my job. That's my job.
So last question, guys. Last
The other
question.
one was your last question, buddy.
And so this is really it for me. So in terms of listing these books, and you were saying the new books were not, Coach was saying the new books were not selling as good for a particular reason and label them used. So there's no issue in going back and listing one book as new. And then the next time if I see a used book, I can list it as used. So you can alternate and go back. There's no issues with that. I'm not talking about the same book. I'm just saying if I found the book that's used and I want to sell it, I can do it. If I want to change and then go back and list another book as new, I can do that as well.
You have to create a whole new listing. Once you submit a listing, you can't modify the condition.
Oh, you have to create a whole new listing.
Alrighty. We're gonna go through two more questions, and then that's it. We're gonna say, thank you to Devin and everything. So, Gigi asked, what about CDs and DVDs, Devin?
CDs and DVDs are great. Yeah, when a book sale opens up and everyone's lined up outside, one good way, you can just try to avoid some competition is everybody runs to the history books, runs to the science books, runs to the math books. The CD section gets totally ignored. You can go over there and burn through the CDs because they're usually smaller. You can clean through the CDs. There will be profit there. And then you can go catch up with the herd and get over the books there. But yeah, CDs are great too. They sell as used. You definitely want to sell them as used because wherever the person that had them last left out on the movie, it's going to be at the end of the movie. So they're going to know it's used as soon as they put the CD in after they buy it. And you don't want to be getting any bad reviews or anything. But CDs sell at great prices as used. They're lightweight. Absolute, great potential for CDs as well. CDs, VHS tapes, Blu-ray discs. They are kind of gated. I'm gated on Paramount and Warner Bros. And stuff still, working to get that ungated, but a lot of profit in that too.
Awesome. Well, guys, I think we're a little over the time, 15 minutes extra. I think we answered a lot of questions. If you guys want to go follow Devin on Instagram, I'm going to put it one more time below in the chat. But Devin, really grateful to have you here. Like I said, guys, check him out on Instagram. Gives a lot of free game there. I love the books. That's where I got started. And everyone tell Devin, thank you, please. That'd be awesome. That means a lot. The books I fell in love with books and Amazon. I think the most fun I ever had with my e-commerce journey was eBay flipping and books. And then everything up from up there, I make way more money than what I used to, but I didn't have it. It's not as much fun as the book category and the eBay, flipping back in the day, as younger. Devin, you want to wrap up with anything else and we'll call it a night?
Yeah, no, just thank you for having me. If I've helped improve anybody's Amazon business tonight, it's been my pleasure. And that was my goal coming onto this call. So if you guys, like I said, have any questions, feel free to shoot me a DM on Instagram. Check me out on YouTube. I post a lot of free value out there. My main goal is to just try to help people. So thanks for having me. And, I hope everyone has a strong 2026 and just go hard. Go hard. Don't do anything halfway and give it your best shot, and best of luck to everybody.
Beautiful. Amazing. Awesome. All right, guys. Well, everyone have a beautiful night. Talk to everyone next week, Sunday, 8 p.m. Maybe I'll have a guest. Who knows? Maybe we'll talk more about wholesale. I think that'd be super good talks as well. Everyone have a wonderful night. And
Coach, wait a second.
I'll answer your question. Go ahead, everybody.
Yeah.
Head out. I have one more question. Go ahead, Gigi. Bye, everyone. See you, Devin.
Do you have any what about our Walmart account? Are we stuck
I'm working
now?
on it. It's very hard, but I'm working on it. Like I said, Amazon and Walmart, both, Devin's here. He's talking about Amazon FBA for books. I'll bring someone else in for wholesaling for both. It's the account approval with Walmart. I'm working with the company. I'm talking to them. not the easiest thing in the world. Unless, I mean, I can have them in and you can pay $2,000, but I don't think you want to do
No,
that,
thank
right?
you.
Yeah. Okay. So
No,
there you go.
thank
So
you.
I'm gonna
Okay.
talk to them. I'm gonna talk to them and
Yeah.
let me I definitely hear you though. Trust
Yeah.
me.
Amazon
Oh,
is getting me crazy right now.
yeah.
They
I
take me out
I like
of all
books.
my listing,
I
and
think you'd be good for the books, Gigi, to be honest. I
yeah,
think
I
you have
started. Yeah, I am all on it. I am
yeah.
all on it.
I
Yeah,
think I think the books would be solid.
I am all on it. So, but I'm going to do FBM for a start,
Mm,
and then see. Maybe I will send a couple of things FBA. I never done FBA, so
you
maybe I'll
should.
do it. Yeah, but I'm
Mhm.
all on it. This is what I'm doing. I've been doing it like, and I needed a good. So I'm going to go to Scoutly and see what I'm going to do
Yeah,
it right now.
I love it. I love it.
Okay, thank you,
Okay.
David. Thank
All
you
right,
so
yeah,
very
thank
Bye,
much.
you.
guys.
Yeah,
Bye,
of
And
course.
everybody.
come back. We want you back.
All right, great. I'll try to make some time to come back and also check
Yeah,
up on everybody's progress.
yeah. And
Amazing.
I'm your new fan on YouTube.
All right, sweet.
Good night,
Thank
everybody.
you. I didn't know you. I listened to other people, but I didn't know you. So I'm going on it right now. I'm going to do you and spend maybe 2 more hours in front of my computer and just looking at you, watching at you.
Amazing. I hope you enjoy it.
Yes. Thank you
I hope
so
you
very
enjoy it.
much.
Of course.
Okay.
All right.
Bye-bye. Thank you.
Bye. Yep.
Good night, everyone. Bye bye.
Mhm.